Spend a few minutes looking at sowing seed. I was out mowing today and saw a wild berry on the ground, and I couldn't tell how it got there. It could have just been growing there. I couldn't see clearly if it actually was attached to the soil or if it had just dropped off the fur of an animal, or maybe the wind had just blown it from somewhere else. But this is part of nature, isn't it? The way certain things spread and go from one area to the other, either on fur or wind and things of that nature. Of course, this can make us think of sowing the seed, the Word of God. And one of the things that comes to the mind of most Bible students is the parable of the sower, then, if you think of this type of thing. And here Jesus said, starting in Luke 8, verse 5, a sower went out to sow his seed. As he sowed, some fell by the wayside. It was trampled down. The birds of air devoured it. Some fell on rock, and as soon as it sprang up, it withered away because it lacked moisture. Some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprang up with it and choked it. But others fell on good ground, sprang up, and yielded a crop of 100-fold. When he had said these things, he cried, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." And this is one of the parables that Jesus actually took the time to explain. There's no doubt what he meant for it to symbolize and for us to understand from it. He explains and says, starting verse 11, Luke 8, verse 11, now the parable is this. The seed is the word of God. Those by the wayside are the ones who hear when the devil comes and takes away the word out of their hearts, lest he should believe and be saved. Ones on the rock are those who, when they hear, receive the word with joy. These have no root, who believe for a while, and in a time of temptation they fall away. Ones that fell among thorns are those who, when they have heard, go out, are choked with cares, riches, and pleasure of life, and bring no fruit to maturity. But the ones that fell on the good ground are those who, having heard the word with a noble and good heart, keep it and bear fruit with patience. So we see that the seed is the word of God. He plainly says that's what's being spread or broadcast out there. That's a neat bit of trivia to throw in, that the word broadcasting from radio came from sowing seed and spreading it. But somehow, some way, we're trying to spread the seed, the word, get it out there. And these soils that we looked at are basically the hearts of men. And we see that he called some the wayside, he called some thorns, he called some rocky, he called some good. And we can see how thorns probably grown in somewhat decent soil, things can grow there, but the thorns choke it out. Cares of world stuff. We see wayside and rocky. We know rocky, hard to get a root growing in there, isn't it? Wayside, trampled down, even though there's good soil there, it's packed so hard maybe it can't get in. And finally, there's good. There's a lot of thoughts that can come to mind based off those words and types of soil. There's different methods of sowing too. Something to think about, that some go door to door, and some are effective that way apparently. Some have home Bible studies trying to get the word, and we appreciate those who have that zeal and that energy to go door to door or to have home Bible studies. Some write articles, try to post, blog, whatever it might be. Others make videos, different levels of complexity. Some are very extravagant, detailed, great graphic work, but making videos for the Lord. But there's another factor to this, isn't there? No matter who's sowing, whatever they're trying to do, videos, articles writing, another factor involved is your heart, isn't it? The listeners. Is it a good heart and searching for the word and wanting to hear it and receive it? Or is it kind of rocky, stony, and thorny? No matter who or what method is being used or taught, it'll be unsuccessful unless you want to hear and obey that word. And the good news is, even if you haven't had a desire, you can change. Your heart can change. We all have periods of sin in our life, or before we know the Lord and things of that nature. It takes different time for different people. But your heart is like soil that can be tilled, tended, fertilized, and it can become good soil. And that's why people keep trying to spread the word out there. Hopefully you'll touch a good heart. They'll believe in Jesus and be saved.